go. Joel Embiid returns. Sixers win 109-105 in Joel Embiid's first game back in 2 months.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 76ers. I'm your co-host, Keith Pompey, along with my right-hand man, John Mitchell. Thanks for joining us. We want to thank y'all for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Well, Mitch, Joel Embiid came back. You know, we talked about it. We said that we thought he was going to come back, and then all of a sudden he was out, this and that, yada, yada, and then the whole nine, he came back. He looked a little rusty, but he won the game for the 76ers. Yeah. The Sixers won 109-105. Now, this was a game where we talked about it, where Jalen Williams and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did not play for the Thunder. Tyrese Maxey did not play for the Sixers. But Joel Embiid played, and he had a phenomenal, I ain't going to say phenomenal. He had a phenomenal fourth quarter, I think, when he came back. You know, he made some plays, he made some things, but he looked rusty. But at the same time, that's what you expect. Now, let me give y'all his stat line. Joel Embiid had 24 points. He had 7 assists. He had 6 rebounds. He had 3 steals. He did have 6 turnovers, right? Tobias Harris was the leading scorer with 25 points. But, Mitch, how do you evaluate Joel Embiid's performance?
You know, Keith, for somebody who hasn't played since January 30th, I'm going to give him all things. I'm gonna give him an A. I'm gonna give him an A. The thing I did like was that while he obviously was sucking air, that's to be expected. He hasn't played in 2 months. He doesn't look like he gained any weight. He was playing with that big bulky brace on his knee, but he came on particularly in the fourth quarter, man. I mean, he had a game high 3 steals in the game, tied for a game high 3 steals. He only took 14 shots. But he did some of the things, he went to the line and hit all 12 of his free throws. And I will say, stats aside, I was pleasantly surprised with the way he looked. And I was glad. I mean, granted, SGA didn't play for Oklahoma City. Granted, they were shorthanded, but the Sixers have been shorthanded all season long. And they got their guy back. And at times you could see that they were trying to figure out how to readjust to playing with him. But you know what? The team fought. I think his presence out there, because when OKC had a nice lead, the Sixers kept crawling back. And along with man Kelly Oubre, I'm loving Kelly Oubre's game, the way he played, and he played tight down the stretch. But like you said, they didn't have any Maxey, and it was just good to see the big man out there, because we classify certain wins come against bum teams, like the Toronto win where they set a season high 3-pointers. But this is a game, no matter how you slice it, the Oklahoma City Thunder are sitting atop the Western Conference. So you gotta give them their love. And I thought the big man, you had to get him out there. You had to get him out there, get him up and down the court, and that's what they did. They start getting them legs back.
Yeah, start getting his legs back. Now the thing is, we want to, like I said, I think I may have misspoke in the first in the beginning where I said, I believe I said Tobias Harris had 25 points. It was actually Kelly Oubre, and Kelly Oubre scored 17 of his points in the fourth quarter. But it was a fourth quarter where, you said Joel was 12 for 12 from the foul line overall in the game. Joel only made 1 of 4 shots in the fourth quarter, but he made 8 free throws, right, from the foul line. He also had 2 steals, in that fourth quarter, 2 of his 3. He was a +5. He had the 10 points. So, it was one of those things. He played 8 minutes and 17 seconds. He was gasping wind. But you know what? I look at this as something that, I mean, let's face it. Was he the dominant Joel that we become used to seeing? No, not at all. But at the same time, it's one of those things where, you know what, he was able to play. I'm pretty sure he's going to go out there and do some conditioning things tomorrow, and then come back and be ready to play against Miami. But the good part is they won this game. That's what
Right.
he was trying to get out of it. That's why they wanted him to come back. And I feel like, it was a pretty good game for them. A pretty good game for them and for him. Now,
Yeah.
this is crazy. He ranks second in games with 100% three throws, meaning, going, making all of his attempts, right? The minimum is 10-10. Now, here's the thing. Lillard has 7. Tonight was Joel Embiid 6. So that's not bad when you come back
No.
to be able to get that type of statistic.
Yeah, and as hitting free throws late is when you're supposed to be tired. That's usually when it tells on you, and it didn't tell on him. So again, man, shout out to Joel. He came into the season in top flight condition for Joel, and after a 2 month absence, man, he could. I mean, it could have gone to hell for Joel. I mean, you know how these things get, man. You get lazy. Well, I just had surgery. I'm not coming back, but I have to give him credit for being ready. I mean, great. He only took 14 attempts. That's low. That's low end for him. But and early on, it looked like he was going to play that high post game almost exclusively. He was living in a high post, and I kind of figured he would do that. To find his comfort zone and move into that comfort zone. Yeah, but hats off to him, man. Hats off to him. They played off of him. And it was just, the whole confidence thing. The arena was on fire. And, Oklahoma City was drilling those 3-pointers, man. And, had it not been for the turnovers, I think the Sixers may have controlled that game from the start. Turnovers and then, and 3-pointers. So it's an excellent win for them when you look at the schedule, because they got a huge game. This Miami game against their nemesis is huge. And let's be honest, every game down the stretch for them is huge. I mean, obviously, I don't think they're going to get out of the play-in, but you want your seeding to be as good as possible, and to control your destiny as best possible as you can in this situation.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. The thing is, I guess every win is a good win, but I mean, I'm not ready to say this team is
Yeah,
ready to beat the Boston Celtics. Let's be real. I mean, I think, I think it was a good win for them, but at the same time, they gotta go out there and they gotta beat Miami. I mean,
right, right.
you have to beat Miami, and then there's going to be, some like, how are they going to respond when there's a game that Joel doesn't play? I mean, the way things look, you know, is there's going to be a game on this trip where we're going to look at it and be like, uh-oh, you mean to tell me Joel's not playing? You mean to tell me Kyle Lowry's not playing? And then maybe Nico Batum isn't going to play? Because it's funny, like, Joel may play in the back-to-back. He may, I doubt it.
I
But
don't
those
see it.
other dudes haven't been. So,
Right.
it's going to be one of those games is how are the 76ers going to respond? But yeah, I get it. This was a win that they got. It was a thrilling victory, but I'm not ready to anoint them just yet. But you know what I mean, to say they're gonna go out there and get to the second round. But yeah, it was a good one. It was a good
Yeah,
one.
for what has been a trying season, it was a right win at the right time, for them to go out on national television, and to be the top, like all those short-handed, teams. So, hey man, you know what? And then when the final store box comes up, it doesn't say who played and who doesn't. Well, it does technically, but when you add them all up, you either won it or you didn't.
Yeah.
But listen, passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED highlights, headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time for your hard earned money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers.
The thing, Mitch, is we look at it right now, right? And you
Mhm.
talk about this win, that this was a good win. I mean, to me, it sets up everything for, the Miami game.
Mhm.
Miami was out there giving, giving the team that they played tonight the business. They were playing last night the Toronto Raptors. So, the thing is, this is a good prelude. Now we'll see. Typically, Joel Embiid from game one to game two, he typically like makes major improvement after he comes back. But the thing is, with all that happened, there's, there's still a game and a half out of seventh place,
Yeah.
right? And the thing is, they're 2 games out of 6, but 2 games is actually essentially their 3 games because they have to finish a game ahead of the Indiana Pacers in order for them to get the 6th spot.
Right.
So, my thing is, basically what they did is they just basically maintained ground on the 2 teams ahead of them. But this is going to be a big matchup coming up for them. Now, another thing is the Sixers did win back-to-back games. So that's something that they can celebrate. They're 5-10 in their last 10 games. But when you win back-to-back off of that, it kind of makes you feel a little bit better, right? So, but
Right.
my thing is, this is going to be crazy. The next matchup we see them are going up against Miami is going to be probably the first game in this series. Well, it is going to be the first game if they play that Joel Embiid and James Harden, not James Harden, excuse me, Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler played in this matchup because they missed the first 3 games. So we're finally
Yeah.
going to get to see these 2 guys play in this game. So that should be exciting.
No, I agree with you, man. And this is Jim. We, we we hate to say it since he's not here or hasn't been here in a few years now, but this is, like him or not, this is Jimmy Butler's time of year. This is where he comes out and puts his thing down. And he's had his share of injuries, and we know how much he likes to beat the 76ers. Um, because of his history with the 76ers. So it's going to be a good game. Miami is starting to round things out. It's starting to turn the corner. And all season long, I thought they would be a much better team than they are. Um, this team has eliminated 76ers in multiple playoff games, multiple playoff series. Um, and it's a big test because right now, let's be honest. I think they're locked into the play. I don't see them moving up into the 6th seed. Not enough games left. You're running out of runway, as they like to say. But you need to beat this team because this is a team that always gives you problems, and the closer it gets to the grass turning green and the flowers coming up, 76ers just struggle against with Miami. And again, the 76ers hit the stretch. They got a spate of easy games coming up to close out the season. So every game is important. Every game is a momentum builder. Every game you want to see Joel get in and get out of healthy. You know, eh, I think he played 30 minutes last night, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did. He did. And here's the thing about the Heat. The team that they beat were the New York Knicks. They beat them 109 to 99. It was a game where Scary Terry Rozier, had a heck of a game. He made 8 of 11 threes and
Mm-hmm.
robbed to scoring um, 34 points. Jimmy Butler had 17 points. He had 6 assists. Um, he made 5 of 12 shots. He was 1 for 3 for threes. And Scary Terry was what? 8 for 11 on threes and 10 for 15. Bam Adebayo had 15 points. He had 9 rebounds. And he was really he shot at a high percentage when you think about it because he made 6 of 9 shots, right? So, and then you look at Hayward Highsmith, a former 76er, who had 14 points on 6 of 11 shooting off the bench. But they only played, 9 guys total. Kevin Love struggled a little bit. But the fact that they went out there, and I'm telling you, they were putting it on the Knicks. And the fact that they were able to go out there and get a double digit victory over them and maintain that, it just makes it seem like I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with this game.
Yeah, and I mean, they bounced back after Golden State came into town and beat the Heat. They put up 142 on the Trailblazers on that traveling carnival. They traveled to Washington to beat the Wizards 119-107, and the Knicks, who I mean, they're gonna be that's a tough playoff team. That's a good playoff team. They had them in Miami had them in their building, and they won by 10 points. So they're on a bit of a roll right now, and they're getting in gear. I mean, before that loss to the Warriors, they absolutely smashed Cleveland 121-84. So Miami's playing well right now, and there is this rivalry. There's a rivalry obviously because Jimmy Butler and his experiences, his time here in Philadelphia. So it's going to be a good game, and it's incumbent upon the 76ers that they make it a good game. They go there and they play hard, and they possibly because I think they'll be underdogs in that game. But if they go in there and get it, it sends as much as you can send a message right now to a team you're likely to see in the play and sends a bit of a message.
But do you think they're good enough to win that game, though?
I
Do you
think
think
so.
they can win? You think they can win this one, or you think they will win it?
I think they can win it. Do I think that if we're betting, if we're wagering, I would go with Miami. Yeah, I would take Miami. Because it's like you touched on it earlier. It's going to be interesting to see how Joel responds. Is there soreness in the knee? I mean, if like you said, if it was a back to back, you wouldn't see Joel playing. The next day. You wouldn't see him playing theoretically on Wednesday. So it's a game of momentum. If they can get the momentum and if they can ride the exuberance of getting a nice win against on a national television game, it looked like a loss coming in until half the OKC half of their roster, including their best players, top 3 player, top 4 player in the league, was unavailable to them. So if I'm wagering, I'm wagering Miami.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm,
yeah,
I'm wagering. If I'm
yeah,
rooting and saying, hey, anything can happen, Sixers can get this one.
yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. I keep going back and forth. Like, your mind is telling you that Miami's going to get them, right? But
Yeah.
then like anything can happen, right? I still probably think I'm still going to go with Miami just because they're going to be the home team, this and that, whatever. I got to see how Joel Embiid need responds tomorrow to all this playing 30 minutes.
That's a
But
big question right there.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Big
But
question.
at the same time, he does give them a chance to do whatever to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But yeah, response.
yeah. He's with Joel. You got the puncher's chance, man. You got the puncher's chance. But listen, are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all the shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Do it today, people. Definitely do it today. I gotta ask you a question, John. A couple of them. So I just want to say, let's start off with the most improved player. Who do you think deserves it this
League
year?
wide,
Yeah, league wide.
I say Max. I mean, I'm rolling with Maxi all season long.
Yeah, you know what? That's the same with me. I have a vote for that, and I am going to give it to Maxi, right? And I just want to see what you because a lot of times what we do is the person that we cover and the
You
market
tend
that
to
we
lean,
cover, huh?
yeah. You
You
tend to
tend to
lean
think
that
that
way.
person is better, right? But
Yeah.
sometimes you come down harder on that person than
Yep.
most people will. But when you look at it, how he ascended, I mean, this guy made the All-Star team, first time All-Star. I mean, he had a couple 50-point performances. He had
Yep.
a stretch of 4 games of 30 or more points. I honestly think that he is the most improving player. And give me your reason why you think he is.
Well, I think there's a drama of him stepping in what looked like a bad situation. A lot of people felt that when James Harden basically said he wasn't going to play for Daryl Morey, people said, "Oh man, it's good." It's just and not me because I'm just not James Harden. The kryptonite time of season is coming for James Harden as the playoffs approach. That's his kryptonite. But I think that Maxey stepped in. He's like you said, he's had what 2 50-point games, if I'm not mistaken. Um, he's been tested because he had to step up even higher when Joel was hurt. Now, I mean, there were some guys who have stepped up along with him. I'm really impressed with the way Kelly Oubre has stepped up and has been stepping up for them lately. But he brought his scoring into the mid 20s. I want to. Do I want to see him get better? Yeah. Do I want to see him become a better defender, on ball, out on the perimeter? Do I want to see him? I do want to see him start getting more assists. But as long as he's putting the ball in the hoop, as long as he's shooting that three ball as effectively as he is, he. I mean, I think he's grown. I mean, the one thing that you can take away from with him is that he was forced to get better. And forced, you can play off of Joel Embiid all night long if you've got decent talent. His talent is above decent. But he didn't have Joel since January 30th. So that's 2 months of season without him. And, I mean, did they struggle? Yes, because they had the guy who was hands down the best player in the league wasn't available to him. But yeah, you're safe checking that box, bro. You're safe checking that. And I know, we see a lot of Tyrese, but you talk to people around the league, that seems to be the consensus that Tyree is the most improved player.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, he is. So let me ask you this: so who would you go as far as MVP? Like, because right now, I guess there's a three. Is it Jason Tatum does not getting any love? Like a lot of people just don't like him. He doesn't get any love. I don't know if people really giving Giannis the love either because of the struggles that they have had, right? Even though they,
Yeah,
they're winning, but they had struggles. So I
yeah,
think you look at three guys. You look at Nikola Jokic, you look at Luka Doncic, and you look at SGA,
yeah.
right? And SGA is coming off of a stretch. It's funny. This is how crazy his season has been. They're saying, oh, he's struggling. He had four straight games where he failed to score 30 points for the first time all season. So it's
Struggle,
like, wow, that's telling you how dominant he was, right?
struggle is real.
Yeah. So my thing is, who would you say is the MVP in your opinion at
You
this
know
point?
what? Man, it's either the Joker. In my opinion, it's either the Joker or SGA, and only because their teams are. I mean, I love Luke. I mean, all those guys. That international. And wow, you think about it, the top five players in this league are arguably international players. Um, I think I may lean towards SGA, and if I were stroking that box, it might only be because the Joker. I have somewhat of a Joker fatigue now, you know,
Hmm.
and that is a byproduct of him being so excellent. You get tired of seeing this guy who's dominant, the double double machine, and you start going out, you start painting outside the lines and create. And this is what we do as voters, man. Because I know when I used to vote, used to the narrative gets created. You go from city to city, and the narrative is there. But I mean, those guys are neck and neck. I wouldn't say Giannis, only because that team. I thought, when they made the move to get Dame, I said, that's the best team, that they're going to be the best team in the league, and that hasn't proven to be the fact. So, man, that's kind of like close your eyes, stick your hand in a fish bowl, and whichever one you choose. I'm moving Luca down a little bit. Number one, because I just don't think he's a very good defensive player. I don't, and not that not that Joker is a great defensive player. But yeah, and their teams are above him. So if I'm pressed, I'm going to let my recency bias uh, jump in here, and I give it to SGA, man, and particularly because I think they're going to win. I think they're going to come off. But they're on this road trip now, so we'll see how things pan out for them on this road trip.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's where I'm going. To be honest with you,
Mhm.
I'm going straight SGA right now because it's weird. I'm looking at this team being in first place. I look at his teammates and yeah, yeah, they're good, but none of them, not even Chet Hunger, unfortunately, are guys that I'm looking at saying, "All right, this dude is balling." Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo,
Yeah,
like they just seem like a bunch of role players. I mean, good real players, but a bunch of role players. I just look at SGA. He's in Oklahoma City, so a lot of people don't talk about him, right?
yeah,
But if he was playing for the Knicks, or if he was playing for somebody else, I feel like he would be a household name. You know what I mean? Right about now, if
yeah,
he's playing for just a big market team. So I gotta go with him. I have to. I mean, at this particular time. Now again, I do have time to vote, and I'm a check things out and everything and follow things. But, you know, to me, it just seems like the stuff that he's doing has been phenomenal.
yeah. I mean, when you do it, I mean, you always got to count up those double doubles for Joker, the triple doubles for him. But man, it's tight. You know what? I don't envy you in that position, bro. You know, because you want to award the guy who's most deserving. Unfortunately, the guy who was most deserving, who was a clear cut. You had a clear cut winner back on January 30th. You had a clear cut winner, Joel Embiid. You just don't have that right now. They got
Yeah.
excellent players though.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You don't have it. But you do have excellent players. You do have excellent players. I can't argue with that. What about? I mean, do you, man? What about coach of the year? Who do you think is the coach of the year?
Uh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Doc Rivers. No, I'm just kidding. Let me see. That's a good one. I might go. I might go on with the guy who, and I didn't think much of his coaching either. The Boston coach. Last year I didn't think much of his coaching because I thought they were, were better than they showed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm going with coach in Boston.
I'm going with. It's two people, but it's probably I'm gonna go with the coach of Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy I think that could win it just because they're in first place. But the
Mm-hmm.
guy I think who deserves it the most is the coach at the Orlando Magic.
He did a
I
hell of
mean,
a job.
yeah, he did a hell of a job. I mean, you look at how they've been playing, and you see it in like he's just been phenomenal. So I
Yeah.
think that when it comes down to it, he's the guy. Jamal Mosley is the guy that I think I'm gonna give it to. You know what I mean? That's exactly who I'm gonna give it to. Jamal
That's a
Mosley.
good one. That's a good one. And he got a cornerstone player down there. You know, he's
Yeah,
got he got a cornerstone player. It's good to see that franchise. I mean, because Atlanta was always kind of I mean, I love their arena now, but they were always kind of an outpost franchise, man.
exactly. But look, y'all, we want to thank y'all for listening. We want y'all to have enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy, what is it? Happy hump day to you. Middle of the week. And
Okay.
then yeah, and enjoy the rest of the week along with that. But we want you to know that you could come here and get this podcast. This podcast is free and available wherever you get your podcasts at and on YouTube, right? Is Locked On 76ers, part of the Locked On 76ers podcast. Thank y'all and peace.
Peace, y'all.